of reading and writing that everyone can have. Previous to that, forms of sacred writing and codes had existed, but secular writing that everyone could use, that ordinary people could use, did not exist previous to that time. So they said, we're going to introduce secular writing, and with it, we're going to teach people the responsibility for critical and deconstructive thinking. And so, fortunately, they did write down these things, and some of their writings have been preserved in these rare documents that were found in Egypt in 1945. And among that written record is this startling account of alien beings. So to get back to very quickly let me profile that again so that we can, so that those who haven't heard about this before can get on board with us. They basically said two things about these alien beings. First of all, they gave the backstory. They said where they came from. Now, bear in mind that what they said does not correspond to what a lot of people are saying today about ETs. Well, one of the most common assumptions, as soon as you use the word ET or advanced civilization or space brothers or whatever you want to call it, an image immediately pops to mind when that language is used. And the image is, oh, somewhere out there in infinite space, surrounding some other star or in some other galaxy or some other star system, is an advanced civilization. And they are not human, they are aliens, or they are extraterrestrials of some kind. Maybe they have a humanoid form, maybe they don't. But the picture that always comes to mind is that they are floating around, say, in our galaxy, in another world system, and they have the advanced technology that allows them to travel through interstellar space, and now they're coming to our system. And this is a very common sort of science fiction paradigm that spontaneously pops up whenever we talk about ETs. Well, what the Gnostic seers told us was not at all like that. Not at all. So whether or not you would, and I don't ask anyone to take their word on faith, by the way, but whether or not you would agree with what they said, bear in mind that what they said was distinctly different from this. They said that the particular threat to humanity is this species of Arcontes. It's a species of inorganic beings that actually arose in the early stage of the formation of our solar system, before the Earth itself was formed. When the other planets, particularly Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars, and the two inner planets were forming, and the prototypal stages of the solar system were evolving in the galactic limb, which is where we're located, the Earth did not exist at that time, according to Gnostic cosmology. The Earth came into being later by a different process, an entirely different process than the rest of the solar system was formed. And the Earth was captured in the inorganic celestial mechanics of the solar system. And that inorganic world of the solar system is the habitat of the Arcontes. So the Arcontes are not from Alpha Centauri, they're not from some planetary system circulating a star in the Great Bear. They're actually from the solar system itself, and they arose at the origin of the solar system. This is what the Gnostic seers tell us, and it's a unique teaching, something that bears reflecting on very closely. There's another common meme or paradigm that's floating around that's getting a lot of attention, a lot of discussion over the past few years. It was largely defined by Zecharia Sitchin, who started writing books about 40 years ago. And I call it the Sitchin scenario, or the Annunaki script, which is supposedly taken from Sumerian cuneiform tablets. According to this Annunaki script, there was an advanced ET civilization on another planet called Nibiru, and they had some problems. I guess they were floating around somewhere else in our galaxy. Let's just confine this conversation today to our galaxy, folks, okay? Because I think if we can understand what's happening in our galaxy, in our backyard, then maybe we could jump a little later into, talking about some other galaxy. Well, a galaxy is local enough, and the Gnostic myth is specifically about our galaxy. Everything that is described in there regarding the divine Sophia, the emergence of the Archons, and the creation of humanity itself is located and situated in this galaxy that we are in. So let's stick to that right now. So the Gnostic myth said that the Archons were here from the beginning. It does not say that they have an advanced civilization on any planet. It describes them as kind of mechanical engineers who construct the solar system and maintain it, but they cannot live on Earth. The Earth is an organic planet captured in an inorganic system. And they cannot live on Earth, but they can see and observe what's happening on Earth, and they're very attracted to the Earth. They envy us. This is what the Gnostics actually say. They use the Greek word phthonos, which means envy. They say that the archonic species of inorganic beings looks upon humanity and envies us because we are gifted in ways that they are not. And so they would like to intervene in our evolution. They would like to hack the human genome, which is called the anthropos in Gnostic teachings. But it is an amazing fact that the surviving Gnostic documents, which is just a flake of their massive output of teachings, contains a very clear refutation of Sitchin and the Annunaki scenario. Mm. The Gnostics who lived at that time in the Middle East, they're from northern Iran, is where the Gnostic movement was founded, by the way, up between the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea, in the so-called plateau of the Urmian Plateau, or Urmian Plateau. The Gnostic movement was founded, and it was called the Magian Order. It was founded about 6000 BC, long time ago. And they observed things developing in the Middle East, so they certainly knew about the Anunnaki story, but they deconstruct this story. According to their version, and this is the only place I know, you tell me if you know otherwise, Henrik, it's the only place I know that gives a refutation and deconstruction of Sitchin's theory. Is found in the Nag Hammadi cosmological texts, where they say the Archons lusted after Eve, by which they mean that they lusted after our human genome, our biological evolution, Eve being the representation of our biology, the human matrix. And they wanted to rape Eve, which is a way of saying in mythological terms, they wanted to get their hands on the human genome, and they wanted to crossbreed with it. They did want to do that. But the Gnostic text is very explicit in saying that they did not succeed. They attempted, but they failed. And that the Eve, which is the psychic and biological part of our species, the part of us that is the part of us that is living, because the word Eve means living, she who is living, has an intelligence inherent to itself. And because our biology and our genetic makeup has an intelligence, a divine intelligence inherent to it, it repelled and evaded the archontic attempt to crack the human genome. So this is a really remarkable fact, and I don't know, some people listening may have heard this for the first time, just as we're speaking, that whereas millions and millions of people today are, in my view, rather mindlessly accepting the Sitchin scenario, seizing upon it uncritically. Yeah. If you read the Gnostics, who were critically minded shamans and seers, they're saying, no, that's not true. That is what the Archons would have you believe. They would have you believe that they've done this, but they have not actually cracked the human genome. They've cracked our minds. They've cracked into our attention. They've cracked into our behavior. And the many ways in which they do that can be inferred from the Gnostic warning. But they have not literally cracked into the human genome because it is massively protected against that kind of intrusion. The immune system around our genome is immense, and it was designed in that fashion from the origin.